Hey everybody, welcome to Slash Bash, where today I am bringing you another Choosing Beggar Reddit video. If you are new to the channel, then subscribe, and click on notifications so you don't miss out on the fun. In our first story, some Choosing Beggar movers want to get paid even though they haven't moved anything. Let's jump right in. A few weeks ago, I decided to hire 3 moving guys for a few hours to move as much as they could into a POD storage unit I rented. I mostly wanted them there to get a few large furniture items from upstairs down into the pod, as it is just myself, my pregnant wife, and my 16-month-old son. They were scheduled to show up at 10 a.m. and work 2 hours until noon, at which point I had a code I would give them and they would get paid for their work. Super easy, I have used the service before. I took off and got a trailer for my Jeep in case there was any overflow and to take things we would need before the POD arrived. I get back to the house at 9:30 a.m., 30 minutes before they are set to arrive, and they had already been there for 15 minutes talking to my wife. This is how things went down from the moment I walked in the door. These mover guys have been lecturing me for 15 minutes on how they can't do their job correctly unless they have shrink wrap for the couch. Well, I got 4 packages of moving blankets, and that should be more than enough to cover things in the POD. We can't guarantee your things won't get scratched a little if we don't have shrink wrap. That's fine. I mostly hired you guys to get the heavy stuff into the POD and pack what you can into it during the time you are here. Okay, boss. Then he gives me this weird salute. He then tells his 2 guys there, both young dudes, to just start moving stuff and get the job done. To move stuff downstairs, as I had hired them to move the heavy stuff downstairs. I would say a solid 10 minutes goes by before my wife comes storming into the garage where I was packing last-minute items. She is visibly mad and at her wit's end. They said they won't move the gun safe until we open it and prove there are no guns in there. I had locked the key in an ammo box that was already packed. Just tell them to leave it and I will do it later. It is not a high-quality one, and one person can move it with a dolly very easily. Think drying machine. 2 minutes later, the head moving guy comes storming out to the garage as well, visibly flustered, and says he can't move anything more because of hostile working conditions. Apparently, my wife said in passing that we hired 2 high school kids one time and they moved all our stuff in a few hours, and he thought that was the biggest affront to his abilities that she could have possibly done. I am going to need cash or check up front to finish this job, or I'm going to have to charge my 2-hour minimum and leave. Conveniently, the same amount as if they had done the work. Well, I will pay you after you do your job, through the moving service as agreed upon. I'm assuming at this point he looks for any excuse to cut down the middleman and get paid directly, and does this often. At this point, after working in these conditions and lacking the proper supplies needed, shrink wrap, I can't complete this job and will need my 2-hour minimum. I can see the pod from where I'm standing, empty, and they have been there for 45 minutes. You guys haven't even loaded a single thing into the pod. You have been moving things from room to room and telling my pregnant wife she is hostile and unprofessional. I can see you're stressed. Who wouldn't be moving? But we can't work with her in there and lacking the correct supplies. Look, man, you can finish the job I hired you to do and you will get paid at the end of the job. Or you can get off my property and I will hire someone else. That is actually called theft of service, and the police will come out to arrest you if you don't pay me my 2-hour minimum. That's not how that works, and if you have your lawyer's contact info, I will be glad to let mine know he will have some work soon. Really, bro? You would pay a lawyer over just paying me and my guys my minimum? If you don't, we will have to call the police for theft of service. He used this term like 80 times. I'm assuming it works for him usually. Okay, you can get off my property and I am calling the police. I hoped that was the clue he needed, that I wasn't going to give in to his scam, but he stuck to his guns. Amazingly, the sheriff's department showed up in record time, after 20 minutes, and started talking to the guy. My wife insisted on talking to the officer since she had the most contact with the guy, so she did first, then me. Shockingly, not doing a job you were hired to do, then demanding money, is not theft of service. The poor officer was out in front of our house talking to this guy for almost 2 hours, yelling at my neighbors about how cheap we are and demanding we pay his workers $100 since we held him up so long. After bringing us a weird contract saying, "I agree to pay $100 because I demanded the impossible," they finally left without 1 red cent. The funny thing is, if they had just done their job, they would have been out of there an hour earlier with $200 in their pockets. We couldn't find any mover available on such short notice, so I ended up moving everything myself. Took me all day, and I was pretty much dead by the end of it, but that choosing beggar didn't get his money for nothing. I did learn not to hire the cheapest movers. The more you spend, the less crazy comes with it. In story number 2, when you offer a bunch of free chicken coops, you would be surprised how many choosing beggars show up. Okay, I had way too many screenshots for y'all, so I just wrote this story out. I moved onto a property and the previous owner left roughly 15 chicken coops, not the PetSmart type, the super heavy-duty type. In getting to know my neighbor, I mentioned we were going to tear them down. She offered to pay me for a few. I told her if she wanted them, she could have them for free. Now that the weather is getting cooler, we want to start working in the yard again, and my neighbor suggested if we really want to trash them, we should post them on Facebook because they are really nice and someone may want them. Perfect! I am happy to help, and if someone can use them and wants to come get one or more, they are more than welcome to. My ad showed multiple pictures of the 11 that are left. My very photogenic collie was in all of the photos, so I mentioned him for scale. I stated that they varied in size but were all very heavy. They were all red in color, appeared to be made from 2x4s and thick plywood, but I was unsure as they were left by the previous owner. A neighbor had told me that they were all less than 3 years old. She knew because she helped him put some together. These coops would need several people to move one, or it would need to be disassembled. Delivery was not available. No rush to have them gone, as it would take some work to move them. I had over 85 messages. Most wanted to know if I could deliver. Nope. Several asked if I would be willing to paint them first because they didn't like the red. Nope. I am not spending my money to paint something that I'm giving you for free. Many wanted to know what kind of wood, what kind of screws, did they have instructions, and asking super specific information that I honestly do not have, and they were upset when I didn't know the answer. Several wanted to know what was wrong with them and why I would give them away for free. Because I do not want chickens and we want to turn the yard into something functional for our family. I had 5 different people come out yesterday to look at them, all of whom said they didn't realize they were so big and that it wouldn't fit into the trunk of their car. I had one who showed up and asked if I would be willing to donate them to her because she does animal rescue. They are free. I am all for helping my animal rescue, which is a big reason I gave them to my neighbor who also does animal rescue. The lady then wanted to know what time she could expect delivery, the same day. I told her there was no way I could deliver, and even if I worked all night, I couldn't take them all apart. She screamed at me so loud the neighbors could hear her. We all have 2 to 3 acre plots, so they aren't super close either. The next lady who showed up after was scared of my dog. Okay, I get it. So I went to put him inside. No big deal. Her husband threatened to shoot my dog if it looked at his wife again. I made them leave and told them if he shot at my dog, I would shoot him. Doggo was not even barking, didn't approach them. He was laying down and my 3-year-old was giving him belly rubs when they walked up. Overall, I found one person of the over 85, one, who came and looked and just said she wanted 3. She understood what it would take to move them and was going to coordinate with her husband and brothers to make it happen, but it wouldn't be today. I told her that was totally fine. I wasn't in a rush and I was happy to help them in any way that I could. Then I took the post down because this was completely ridiculous and I wanted no more of it. People are exhausting. This is John from Slash Bash. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video and want to see more of them, then please hit that subscribe button. We'd love for you to drop a like, share it with your friends, and we will see you in the next one.